So if you see, we have uh, started off with control statements 2 days before. We have done with if, else, if, for while else, for else, and break. So today we will continue with the discussion of control statements, and we will try to complete the control statements. Okay. So what is continue? Continue is also one of the control statements. So whenever you can take 1 or 2 points, whenever control reached continue statement, this is little tricky to understand. Okay, you might get confused between continue and break as such. Okay, continue, break, pass. Okay, you already know old other language, you must have learned go to. Okay, so some clarity you have to maintain. So whenever control reached to the continue statement of a loop, then without executing the remaining statements of that iteration, okay, without executing remaining statement of that iteration, control will go to the next iteration. So what is this? Let me tell you. Let me write a program straight away and explain. Idle. Let me open idle. Control N, Control S. So okay, let me give an example of continue. So let me start off with begin I equals to 0 while I lesser than or equals to 5. You increment your I plus equals to 1. Now whenever I has become 3, what I am doing is I am executing continue statement, and after continue statement in the while loop I am going to write one more print statement. So please focus on the welcome I line. So every iteration, for every possibility of I value which is lesser than 5, you see your welcome I must and should display. Am I right? So this is what my program is. Okay, let me write an end variable just to see start and end displays of our program. Okay, now what happens here? When let me execute and show the result, and let me ask you to find out what is happening. Okay, so what had happened here? Tell me, what does continue is doing? Whenever control comes to continue statement, it will not execute the further statements in that particular iteration, and it will move on with the next iteration variable. Okay, next iterable variable. So if I have to show, you see, when I is equals to 0, when I see why it is becoming, if you see welcome 0 should display, no, in our previous program, the same kind of program we have written, it has displayed welcome 0, but for here it is displaying welcome 1. Could you observe the difference between our previous program? Same kind of program we have written for break also, right? So there welcome 0 displaying, here welcome 1 displaying. Yeah, you can see here, right? Welcome 1 displaying. Why do you think that welcome 1 is displaying here? Because we are incrementing the I variable in the first position itself. There we have incremented at last, right? So that is the basic difference you should observe. Now, so I has become 1. So will this condition is true? No, 1 is not equals to 2, 3. So continue will not execute. But which statement executes? Welcome welcome 1 gets executed. That's why welcome 1 has displayed. Now I has become 2. Sorry, 1 lesser than or equals to 5. Yes, so I become 2. So when 2 double equals to 3, no, again continue will not execute. But further statement, this is the further statement of the loop, right? So next statement gets executed, welcome 2. Okay, now I has become 2, 2 lesser than equals to 5. Yes, so I has become 3 because we have incremented. Now if 3 double equals to 3, yes, when I is 3, continues getting execute. When continues getting execute, where is the next step in the loop? This is the next step in the loop. This is being getting skipped. So that is the reason, if you see, welcome 3 is not displayed here, and automatically loop got executed, right? So now I lesser than or equals to 3 lesser than or equals to 5. So now I become 4. When I become 4, condition is failing, so continue will not execute, welcome 4, right? And that's all, welcome 5 and 6. So basically whenever I is becoming 3, that in the only that one instance, you are only in the one instance your continue statement is getting executed. So only that whenever continue statement got executed, only that instance, rest statements in the iteration are skipped. Okay, this statement is skipped. Are you understanding? So continue means what? There may be 10 iterations your while loop has to go, there may be 20 iterations your while loop has to go, but in that, whenever continue statement come across, whenever continue statement comes across, further statements in that particular iteration, it will skip and it will proceed with the next iteration. What is the difference between break and continue? Tell me. Whenever break comes here, okay, whenever break comes here, control comes out from the that particular while loop or for loop, right? Whereas whenever continue comes here, it will not come out, control will not come out from the loop, rather control will skip that particular iteration further steps and it will proceed with the next iteration, as simple as that. Okay, so that is what your continue is. Okay, just take this program and output. Let me proceed with another example which makes some proper meaning to understand continue statement. Okay, let me give 1 minute time for you. Just quickly take. Okay, so I hope you guys have taken. Did you understood what exactly continue is doing? Continue is skipping the, whenever control comes to the continue statement, it skips the further steps in the iteration. So this is that further step. Okay, so control skips that further steps and it will move to the next iteration. It will not come out from the loop. Okay, like break. Okay, right. Now let me proceed with for next example. Okay, okay, let me save this. Control N, Control N, Control S, ESS 14. Okay, so this gives some more meaning for you. You see, so what is this while true? While true means what? It is like infinite loop. So this while condition will never ever become false. So whenever in the program, if you come across while true, there should be pakka mandatorily either break or continue kind of statements will come across in the loop. Okay, so let me write a program. Okay, username, enter username. Okay, it is a string variable, right? String input you are taking from the keyboard. If username not equals to Yuktesh, okay, so if condition, so you continue it. Okay, you remember whenever you are giving some usernames and password in the web logins, you know, if username is wrong, immediately it will ask you to re-enter. Am I right or wrong? If username is correct, what you have to do, you have to provide password, right? Enter password. Okay, right, enter password. Now what you have to do, again you need to check for whether password is correct or wrong. Okay, so password. Okay, so Iktesh12345 is the password. Okay, so if this is correct, you get out from there. In the sense your loop no need to execute once again. It don't need to ask your username password. So straight away you can come out and you can say access granted. Okay, so now what happens here, you see, let me first trace before getting into the output. When first time you will give username. Okay, so it will be checked with Yuktesh. Okay, so if it is not Yuktesh, continue means what, these further statements will not get executed automatically. It will ask again username. Okay, so whenever user has given username as Yuktesh, okay, so if loop is failing, it will come to PW, right? It will come to this line. So it will ask for password. Whenever you give proper username, correct username, it will ask password. And if password is correct, you are given the same Yuktesh 12345, then break means comes out from the your loop and joins the print statement, access granted. Okay, if password is not correct, what happens, automatically your while loop gets executed. Okay, so here you may ask one question. Okay, let me execute and then I will try to, you know, put up the question. Control S, F5. Okay, enter username. Can you see enter username at the right bottom? Okay, so let me give some wrong username. Okay, so automatically it is asking immediately enter username. So how is this happening? So continue statement executed. So that's the reason enter password further last 3-4 lines of the program is not getting executed immediately. It is going up and asking enter username. Okay, so let me give proper username. Okay, I gave proper username. When proper username, when I gave that, above if loop will not get executed automatically, password it will ask. It will ask password. Okay, just close the door. Yeah, it will ask password. So now let me give wrong password. Okay, some wrong password I am giving. So when wrong password, whenever I give wrong password, do you think break statement executes? See the code at the left side. When I give wrong password, break statement execute? No, right? When break statement is not getting execute, automatically further your loop continues. Yeah, your loop continues. When I say loop continues, again it has to come from starting step of the execution. That is called while true, right? While true means it is infinite loop. This condition will never become false. Okay, so again it is asking username. So here you may ask question, sir, whenever we give password wrong, it should ask re-enter password, mean enter password only, you know, like the way how it asked for enter username. Whenever I gave wrong name for username, it is asking username. It makes sense. But whenever I'm giving wrong password, it has to show me enter password again, right? Why it is showing enter username again? Why should I give username once again? Already I gave correct. No, this question you may have. Let me tell you, enter password is not possible in Python. In the sense, control wherever you want to move, that is not possible in Python, because that is possible in other languages using goto statement. If you remember, okay, if you already know some language and if you know goto statement, just I'm trying to compare and explaining here. But so basically in other language like C, goto statement it supports, whereas in Python it does not. So uh, that's the reason there is no goto statement in Python. So that's the reason automatically control will start from the starting place only. Okay, so let me give username properly. Yuktesh is what my username, and password it is asking Yuktesh 12345. So did I give correct password? Yes. So when I hit on enter, what happens, tell me? Second if block is getting execute properly, and automatically break statement gets execute. So when break statement gets execute, what happens? Automatically you are coming out from the while loop and access granted statement executes, right? So break statements execute even though condition has not become false, right? We are always true now, right? So that's the reason I am telling. So tell me a situation where mandatorily you use break statement in while loop. This kind of question. So break statement in which situation you will put, sir? Whenever the condition never become false, right? Automatically you have to use break statement to get out from that loop at certain point in time as per our use case requirement, right? So while true means your condition will never become false. I hope you have understood this. You can take this and let me give one more minute, okay, and then let's proceed with further concept. So would like to hear in the chat, yes, no, shall I proceed, shall I give 1 minute? Any doubts for now? Continue. Okay, proceed. Oh, cool, thank you. Control N. Okay, people who are writing slow, you have to improvise your you know fastness, and no, not an issue. I will be there for last 10-15 minutes for you. Control S. Now let's proceed with next statement, that is pass. Okay, so what does pass do? What does pass do? Pass, you all play Antyakshari, right? You all know Antyakshari game, right? So whenever your team doesn't know how to answer, what do? You just say pass, right? In not only that game, in fact, any other game to that matter, general knowledge, right? Any Q&A kind of games when you are playing, right? Whenever you don't know the answer, what do? You just say pass, right? So pass means you should not do anything, but some response should come out from your mouth, right? Okay, so if you sit silent whenever your turn comes, if you sit silent, okay, others will not understand what is your take, whether you are answering that question or whether you are leaving, right? So just you say pass. Okay, so such kind of understanding, pass statement does not do anything. Pass statement does not do anything. Okay, so it is used with control statements. It is used with the control statements to represent no operation should perform. No operation should perform. Okay, so so syntactically, so syntactically we need some statement to write, but that should not perform any action, or operation, whatever. Okay, so at that instance we go for pass. Okay, syntactically we need some statement to write, but that should not perform any action. Okay, that is nothing but called pass statement. Okay, so you just see, write a Python program. Okay, write a Python program to display negative numbers from a list. Okay, so this is what our program is. Let me go ahead and write this. Okay, write a Python program to display negative numbers from a given list. Okay, so from a list, I'm not saying given list, so you can straight away take a dummy list. Okay, 1 comma okay, minus 2 comma 3 comma 6 comma minus 10 comma okay, minus 67 comma 45 comma 93 comma minus 26. Okay, so let us take some positive negative numbers. Okay, this is what my list is. So how to process the list, sir? How to process the list using what is list? List is a iterable object. Am I right or wrong? Yesterday we discussed in length this. So to process your iterable objects, you have to use for loop. For each element in iterable object, so instead of each element I am writing I. Okay, so for I in LST, right? So what is the question? Tell me. You need to pull out only negative numbers. Okay, so if I greater than 0, I'm saying greater than 0 means what numbers you will get? Usually positive numbers you will get. Do you need positive numbers to display? No need of displaying positive numbers, so you pass. Okay, so else means what? In what case else gets execute? If the number is negative only, right? So print your I. Okay, sir, why you are writing if and else, sir? Only in the if only you can write this condition. No, if I lesser than, if I lesser than or equals to 0, print I, automatically it will give negative numbers. No, my intention is not to show how to display negative numbers. My intention is how to show at what kind of situations pass we have to use, right? So in this situation, this loop should not execute anything. It should not bring in anything in the output for me, right? It, your control has to skip this iteration, this if loop. Whenever a if loop is passed true, your control has to not to do anything, right? So that is the reason I am writing pass. Okay, let me execute control S F5. Can you see that? Can you see that what had happened? Only negative numbers have come for me, right? When I, for I in list, first one is in place of I, 1 is there. 1 greater than 0, yes. So pass. So pass means what? Your control moved from 1 to 2, right? So now I is minus 2, right? And I greater than 0, minus 2 greater than 0. So this if loop is failed. So automatically else loop got executed. That's the reason you are getting minus 2. And then likewise 3 pass, 6 pass as it is positive, right? Minus 10 coming into else loop printing, minus 67 coming into else loop printing, 45 pass, 93 pass, and followed by 26 is else case. Okay, fine. So that's how you have to use pass. Actually, where this gets help for me in real time, sir, I'll tell you. If you know, okay, if you know the concept of uh, method overriding, okay, if you don't know, that's fine, just try to listen for 2 minutes. Okay, so method overriding is a concept in oops. Okay, it's very important concept. Method overriding means you will have a parent class. Okay, I'm just writing in English, I'm not writing any syntax. Child class. Okay, so child class. So parent class has got a method m1, and so the same m1 if you wanted to define in child class. Okay, so what you put is in the in the parent class, this method m1 logic you write pass. Okay, and then what do you do is that method in the child class you will overwrite. Okay, overwrite. So you don't bother if you do not understand whatever I have written in the method overriding last 5 6 lines. No need to worry. People who know object oriented concepts, they can realize. Okay, compare. right? So basically in the object oriented programming, we tend to use this pass statement frequently, that too in the method overriding, method overloading concepts. Okay, so but for now, since you are in the very basic level, that's the reason I have shown one usage of pass. This is how you people write. Okay, so you don't have to take this also. Let me close that. Control S, FFI. You saw the result. Fine, I think I can proceed for the next control statement. Shall I? So assert, okay, asset control statement. Asset actually, uh, you go and see in any of the control statement notes as headings as such. Asset people will not give. Okay, people, somebody say that asset does not come under control statement, and someone claims that asset is also one of the control statement, right? But I would like to explain even if whether it comes or not. But let me explain asset statement. So this is kind of, people will pull your legs in interviews. Okay, so that's the reason I would like to convey. Okay, asset statement is useful. So just write down, asset statement is useful to check condition. One second. Asset statement is useful to check if a condition is fulfilled or not. Okay, the condition is fulfilled or not, just to check whether condition is true or not. Okay, so if condition is not fulfilled, if condition is not fulfilled, it will raise assertion error exception. Okay, with the with the with a user given message, with a user given message. Okay, so don't worry what is this exception and what is this user given message. Okay, so this full 100% understanding of asset you will get to know. Exception handling if you know pretty well, but that's okay. To whatever extent you can able to understand, try to take this. So syntax: asset statement, asset condition, asset condition comma message. Okay, asset condition comma message, right? Okay, so there is a question here, goes like this: is there any control statement, okay, so with condition and without any colon? Okay, with the condition and without any colon, so that is asset statement. Okay, so if condition, while condition, your for loop and all these are some comes up with some certain conditions, right? So but asset also comes up with certain condition, but there is no colon statement. Excuse me. Okay, so there is no colon statement. Fine. Okay, so let me proceed with an example. Okay, I'll explain through example. Control N, control S. Asset X. Okay, so just take a number from keyboard, enter a number, enter a number greater than, okay, greater than 0. Okay, enter number greater than 0. A simple program just to use asset. So you are asking user to enter a number which is greater than 0. Now, how does we use asset statement? You see, asset, right? Orange color means it is standard word, which is reserved word in Python. Okay, so asset condition is what? N greater than 0. If n greater than 0, okay, immediate condition, usually we have been writing like this colon till now, whatever you have seen statements. But here you write comma, and here you write a message like saying that uh, sorry, it is negative number, it is negative number. Okay, so you see now, so when there is no colon, so that's the reason there is no indentation concept. Okay, So tell me a statement in control statements where there is no follow of indentation. Okay, that is asset statement. Print. Okay, you entered. You entered. Okay, sorry. Fine. Okay, right. You entered positive number is control S F5. You see, you are supposed to enter a number greater than 0. Okay, so your cursor is here. Okay, I hope everybody can see my right bottom cursor. Okay, so now let me enter 7. Is it a positive number? Yes, you entered positive number is 7. Okay, so whenever your condition is true, automatically it will execute the further statements in the program. Okay, after asset, whatever, you can't say whenever condition is true assert block statements it will execute. No, that is wrong. Okay, this is not about assert block statement. This is the program block statement only. Whenever your condition is true, further statements in the program gets executed. That point you have to make it clear. Now whenever condition false, what happens, let us see. Control S F5. Now let me give a negative number. Okay, -5. Whenever I give -5, what happens, you see a red color message will come. Okay, so what is that? It is, you see, assertion error. Can you see in the bottom, assertion error? And assertion error is displaying what message? Can you see? Sorry, it is negative number. Generally any error in red color, if it comes, a is not defined, type error, okay, name error. So this kind of messages whatever we are getting. And the, see, this is one thing to observe. What is this? Assertion error, name error, type error, file not found error, division by 0 error. Two words. Second word is error, first word is some other word, right? So starting with the caps lock, this is called exception class in Python. Okay, word followed by error, these are the classes. These classes are called exception classes in Python. Exception classes will handle the exceptions in Python. So here assertion error handled this uh, error, and it is printing the user given message only. Okay, so this is called exception in Python. Okay, so see, we discuss exception handling concept. Till the time you try to observe wherever the error comes with like this time error, name error, module not found error. Okay, so type error, file not found, these kind of errors you please observe. So those are all called exception classes. Okay, so your exception class is assert is a statement handled by exception class, and it gives the user given message. Okay, it gives the user given message. Okay, so as simple as that. How to handle this assertion error we will see in exception handling concept. Okay, that's it. So basically this is not any great control statement you learn much as such. Just that asset statement, when you give, you will user defined message will come. This will be handled, this will be taken by assertion error exception class and printed whenever the condition is false. Okay, if condition is true, automatically further statements in the program gets executed, not in the block. Okay, further statement in the program gets executed. So that is what called assertion error. Okay, right. So we will discuss this asset concept once again. We move into exception handling because this is more to do with the exception handling. Okay, right. So I hope you have taken this as well. So let me continue with last statement, that is return. Okay, what is return? Return, this anyways our further concept, we rely most of the time on return only, but try to take one or two points. A return statement we use in functions concept. We use in functions concept. Okay, so return statement returns some value or expression from the function to the program. You don't have to worry what is uh, what is function and all. Anyways, our further concept is that only, but let me give an example. Okay, so have you taken this? Okay, so let me give example. You can take this control N, control S. Wait, I will put that once again. Okay, so this is the last control statement written. Okay, so don't ask me anything what is this def sir and all. Okay, I will anyways show written uh, hello, good morning. Okay, so fun is the function in Python. It is returning one message, and you see print hi, I am there. Okay, print please consider me. Okay, now you see whenever your function is giving return statement. Okay, okay, before return let me write print. Okay, by to control statements. Okay, now you see there are three print statements. Okay, and one is before return, and two print statements are after return. Okay, so now what I'm doing res I have to call function. Don't ask me any questions for now. In next 10 minutes, all your questions gets resolved. I'm just trying to focus only on return statement, why it is mentioned in the control statement. It is we have to use return in functions, no sir. So in the functions concept, we will study more about return. No, why return is being mentioned in the control statements means, let me tell you. Control S F5. Okay, so you see now what you have understood in the program. See, this is called function calling statement. Whenever you call your function, okay, automatically your function logic gets execute. So sir, function logic has got 4 lines. No, then why it is showing only 2 lines? So this is what why the return statement has been said as like control statement. Whenever your whenever your control execute Python interpreter executes the return statement, right? So automatically this hello good morning is being pushed into res variable, and when you are printing res variable, hello good morning is coming for you. But after return statement, what had happened, there are two more statements are there. These are skipped. Okay, these are skipped from the execution. Control skipped these two statements, and automatically it will proceed with the further statements in the program. Okay, so that is the reason we write a return statement in functions at last line of your function code must be return statement. Why it has to be in the last line? Last line means what? Generally here. Okay, so here, okay, here is what you have to write your return statement. Why? Because return statement, or the other way to say, return statement is the last statement to execute in the function. Once if control executes a return statement, further statements it will not execute. As you saw on the output of this program, these two statements are skipped, right? Control S F5, you can see. Okay, so you can see now return after return again. You cannot use return multiple times like this. My second return does not make any meaning here. Can you see that? In fact, last 3 lines does not make any meaning. This will not have any impact, as you have already utilized the return in somewhere in the middle of the function logic, right? So that's where it will skip further statements in the program move to the further steps in the program. So that is the reason in control statements people uh, study written keyword, written statement. Okay, so not to worry if you do not understand anything about written statement, because our next concept is functions only. Okay, so control s f5. So just take this. Okay, so I'll give 1 minute, and with this we are done with the control statement. Okay, I will talk more on function defining and all. Okay, we have not yet started functions. Before starting functions, I tried using one function without explaining what is def, what is fun, what is open close. Okay, all those things, don't worry. Okay, you will get to know now. Okay, so so break statement you use for the conditions, right? So whenever the condition, though it is true, you would like to mandatorily want to come out from the loop. That's where you use break statement. A written statement does not listen to any condition as such. And by the way, written statement we don't write in the normal program. A written statement we write only in the functions. Okay. Yeah, you may think that both are doing same now, sir, jumping into the further steps in the program, right? But no. So break statement we use for the it will jump out even though the condition is false. Oh, sorry, condition is true. Whereas the return statement, that is nowhere a condition is matter to return statement. Return statement we use in the function first of all. Break statement we use in the program. Okay, so return statement we do not use in the normal program. Okay, without any function you cannot see return statement. Okay, right? So I think I can move to the further concept, which is new concept. Okay, so let's proceed with our new concept. Okay, okay, so you all know functions is do you think functions is important concept or not? Yes, it is very much important concept. So till now, whatever the concepts you have seen are all I can say, like basics of coding, right? Basics of Python programming. And from here on, we are trying to understand one category of one type of programming languages, that is functions programming paradigm we call, right? If you remember in the very first session, programming languages types, procedure oriented programming language, object oriented programming language, and scripting oriented programming language, modular oriented programming language. We have been discussing we discussed these things in length in the very first second sessions of our course, right? So procedure oriented programming language means what? Any language which support concept of functions. And I said example is the C that day, and Python also supports functions is what I said. And this is what called OOPS concepts. Okay, so which supports OOPS, that is object oriented programming language. I said Java as example, and I said Python also supports this, right? And this is interpreter dependent and dependent. Okay, shell script. Okay, your Perl. Okay, these are some examples I said. And Python is also interpreted. That's what you're saying, no manual compilation and modules concept. Okay, so Modula v3, this kind of programming language. I also said Python. So Python is general purpose programming language. So okay, Pranav, procedure oriented programming language, procedure oriented programming language, object, if you okay, object oriented programming language, scripting oriented programming language, and modular oriented programming language. People who missed earlier sessions, you can go to YouTube, you can find basic sessions of mine over there, right? You can attend them. Okay, right, fine. So basically these are the four basic key programming categories we study in nature of programming languages as such. So the very first one we are coming across today now is functions, right? So first of all, tell me before writing, what is function, what is how do we define, how do we write, what for and all. Basically, for what kind of projects we have to use functional coding. Okay, so this understanding you have to have really. Okay, let me explain. Okay, likewise, but what kind of projects you have to go for object oriented. Okay, so mostly if you see, mostly if you see languages like your C, your embedded C. Okay, people who are from electronics background, you might be knowing kit programming. Okay, kit programming, 8086 micro, what is that, microprocessor, 8051 microcontroller. Okay, so these are all these are all microcomputers, the early stage of your processors, right? So on this kits straight away, if you would like to dump programs, like add a comma b. Okay, so this is an instruction, this is called instruction. Okay, so move c comma d, this is also an instruction, means what, c equals to b. Okay, or add a comma b means what, a plus b. Okay, this kind of coding you must have some people who are from the electronics background, or who have done like embedded coding, like going through this kind of subjects, right? So this coding we do a lot using functions only. Okay, basically, in simple term, if I have to call, hardware level implementation. Okay, what do you mean by hardware level implementation, sir? See, I'll give you one simple example for you to understand. you see you see what, basically, what is the difference between function and class method? Okay, so this you have to understand, and then let me make you understand where we use this. Okay, so let me open Paint. So here you are writing in the program, let's say you are writing a function. Okay, you are writing a function, right? And this is the calling statement of your function, right? N number of times you can call your function. Okay, fine. So what is the function logic here? Function logic is, this is your function logic. Okay, fine. How many times I have called? N number of times I have called. Okay, coming to your another kind of programming. Okay, so that is, you have to write a class X, and in class X you define methods. Okay, methods should contain one mandatory parameter, that is self, that you will understand when we discuss oops. Okay, now you have defined this method. Now, can I call my method straight away like this? No, I cannot call. What should I do? I have to create object of this class X. Using object, I should call my method. Next, I can create another object to my class, and next, with the next object also, I can call my method M1. Okay, so method logic is this is method logic. So see, don't you think that function, okay, sorry, here I have to write def keyword, sorry, def. Okay, def is, imagine that is inside, sorry. So def space fun, here def space m1. Okay, so here also you can give parameters. Here also you have to give minimum one parameter. Logic, and you're calling your function, here you're calling method. But the way how it is getting called is getting gets differ here. Here function, so who called this function, tell me? Okay, who called this function? Is there any particular person calling? Who called this time? Who called this time? Okay, so directly nobody, no specific person is calling, sir. Function, you just write down with that name, automatically it gets called. Now, but that concept will not apply here. You see, who called this m1? this the first time m1 was called by x1 object, class first object, that is x1. Second time who called? Second time called by some other person, okay, that is x2. Are you understanding? Right. So sir, so what is the so big deal, sir? Here that you creating object and calling, here straight away you are calling. Now let me tell you a use case. You sit in your sofa every day and you operate your remote. Am I right? Okay. So first of all, so this is functional coding, and this is called functional programming, right? This is called functional programming. Okay, and this is called object oriented programming. Object oriented programming. So what is the difference you observed here? Let me tell you. Functions multiple times you can call. Okay, who is calling? That kind of difference you will not find. Methods also you can call multiple times, but you will always get to know which person is calling that method. Okay, when x1 called, how it got executed, when x2 called, how it got executed. Okay, so how x1 and x2 are doing after calling m1 method. So that kind of difference you can observe in the right side programming. So let me explain with a use case now. See, take a remote, okay, television remote, okay, television remote you all know, right? So daily you operate it, right? So you see plus minus symbols in the television remote. What does it implies? Plus means it increases the volume, right? Minus means it decreases the volume in the TV, right? And P up, P down, what is that? Program channel, it will change. Okay, next it will go to further numbers, okay, larger numbers, smaller numbers. Okay, so basically program change or volume change. Okay, so that's how your remote works. Now answer my question. Does a remote only you click it will function, or you and your sibling at home can click, or only you and your sibling can operate, your mom cannot operate, or only your mom you can operate, your dad cannot operate, only your family can operate, your neighbors cannot operate? No sir, what are you talking? Remote, haven't you seen remote? Remote is something kind of gadget, right? It's a hardware device. First of all, am I right or wrong? Everybody can come to our home and they can operate a remote. It will work. Am I right or wrong? Everybody in our home can come and operate remote. It will work. Fine. So by using what kind of programming has been embedded in that hardware? Remote is a hardware device. Don't you think so? Yes, it is a hardware device. So don't you think on this hardware device some sort of software program has gone and sat? Yes or no? You open four screws, turn back your remote, open four screws, you will get a green color board, which is nothing but called circuit board. Okay, electronic circuit board, right? So only with that hardware do you think your remote is functioning? Don't you think that some software program has gone and sat on top of that green color circuit board? Yes or no? Tell me. Right? Not only that, your mobile, right? Open your mobile internally, motherboard of your mobile will be in the green color. It's an electronic circuit board. Any device you open, there will be a green color electronic circuit board. So let's discuss this remote. See, whether you are clicking, or your father clicking, your mother clicking, your sibling clicking, your neighbor clicking, or Prime Minister Modi comes and click, also your remote buttons are working. So how do you think that remote buttons are working? Every button has implemented internally along with some function. Okay, so function gets called automatically whenever it function gets executed automatically whenever it called. So whenever you are hitting on the plus button, means that for that plus some functional logic must have been written, and that logic gets execute automatically. So that doesn't have to do anything with that plus has been clicked by you or your mother or your father or your neighbor. Understanding? Right. So basically functions we use a lot. Okay, functions we use a lot in uh, hardware implementations. Okay, so basically in hardware, embedded coding we call. Okay, so embedded coding. So if you do, that's the reason I'm saying, if you are keen towards going to Internet of Things, right, you will have to be so much good in function there. Your programs will go and dump on hardware. Okay, and that's how your hardware functions, right? So if you do not know how to write functions, how functions works, right, you cannot become a programmer where you can write programs which can sit on hardware, which can work on hardware. You deploy your program on a hardware, right? So in that cases you use a lot functions, right? Sir, can you give me the example of object oriented programming here? See, you go to bank. Okay, you person one, you go and fill form. Okay, form filling is one method, because here is what, in that you will give all username. You here in the method here you write username. Okay, your account number. Okay, your account number, your address. Okay, all details of you alone. Okay, so basically all 10 or 15 parameters you are trying to read. So P1 is the person one filling form. Okay, that is object one. Okay, so x1 dot m1 means first person data is getting filled. Now you see, P2 second person will come, and he will also fill form, because he also wants to enroll into that bank. He also wants to create account, right? So P1 form filling, P2 form filling. Don't you think the data gets differ here? P1 name is, uh, let's say Nagarjuna. P2 name is Chiranjeevi, right? Am I right or wrong? So P1 age is different, P2 age is different, P1 address is different, P2 address is different. So for object to object, data gets a differ here. Data means what? Left side variables are all same, but right side values are getting differ. So that's the reason when M1 executed with X1, okay, you are getting a separate object. Okay, and here this is the object of some first person details. When x2 dot m1 is getting execute, right, you are getting separate object. Right here, as I told you, all the Nagarjuna information will come and sit here, and here what happens, here all the your information comes and sits here. Okay, different people information comes and sits here. Okay, so that's how your methods. So basically web programming, middleware coding. Okay, and all this data you have to go back and sit in the database. Okay, so connecting your functional coding to database is, it's really tough. Okay, so whereas connecting your database to object oriented programming is so easy. That's the reason we have JDBC kind of concept in Java. We have PDBC concept in Python to database connectivity, Java to database connectivity likewise. Okay, so whereas you don't have C to database connectivity. Okay, CDBS, something like the C language to database connectivity as such. Okay, so there are lots of different. I will talk this discussion. I will in length discuss whenever we start object oriented programming. So for now, try to understand functions gets called automatically. With respect to how many number of times you call function, automatically it gets execute. Okay, so who is calling does not matter, right? Okay, so let me remove this. And what exactly a function, sir? What exactly a function? Okay, what is the difference between function and program? Okay, let's say this is your x.py. Okay, now we are going to study our first programming paradigm. Functions means what? Let us say in your program you have these many lines of code. Okay, so let me give some number of lines, these many lines of code you have in the program, right? So whenever you execute your program, control comes here, and by default all statements execute by your PVM. Who is PVM? Python virtual machine. Okay, PVM means what? Called Python virtual machine. What is the name of PVM? Python. Are you understanding? Python is the name of Python virtual machine, or also called as interpreter. PVM or interpreter, both are same. People may confuse you with the different terms. Interpreter or Python virtual machine. Okay, the name of Python virtual machine. is Python. Okay, that is the reason in command prompt, whenever you execute Python programs, Python space x.py, something like that. Okay, right. So by default, every line executes only for only for once. But my situation is like this, sir. There are some lines in my code. Okay, there are some lines in my code. Let's say I wanted to execute multiple times. Okay, I want to execute this code multiple times whenever I want. Okay, and likewise there are certain other lines of code. I want to execute these lines multiple times. Okay, so so whenever you wanted to write whenever you wanted to whenever we want to execute, okay, some specific code multiple times multiple times, we need to we need to write them in functions. Okay, you need to write them in a function. Okay, so what is a function executes the code repeatable number of times. What is a function? It is a function means set of instructions which executes repeatedly. Okay, so which executes repeatedly, right? So here whenever you call your functions, you will have to define like this: def f1. Okay, and you need to write down this your 4 5 lines in the function. So automatically whenever you wanted to have your 4 5 6 lines gets executed multiple times, you have to keep on call f1 multiple times. Okay, so I hope you have understood. So let me proceed with some simple example for today. Okay, control n, control s. So there are two things whenever you are discussing function. There are two things for us. Okay, function, sample function program. Okay, first is what you define your function. This is what function name. Okay, so this is this you may take as like syntax. Okay, function name, parameter. This is not a program, this is syntax. Parameter 1, parameter 2, so on. Okay, close it, and then you keep on write your function logic. Okay, and then this is what your this is. Okay, so just take this as function definition. Function definition comes up with a keyword called def. Def is a reserved keyword in Python, which means a definition of the function we are writing. So this is the function definition, and this is, if I select complete, it is function definition along with the body. Okay, right. Now the second thing what you have to understand is calling function. Okay, function by itself will never execute. Okay, if you want you can write one statement: function by itself will never execute. You have to call your function. Okay, you have to call your function manually. Okay, this is the function calling statement. Okay, so write down one point. Okay, function never executes by itself. Function never execute by itself. We have to call function manually, right? So see, purchasing Benz car is writing function. You purchased Benz car. Okay, so when you purchase the Benz car, do you think it will drive automatically? No, right? You have to sit in that and you yourself have to drive it. Am I right or wrong? So that's how it is. Whenever you defining function does not make any sense, this will not get execute at any point in time. You have to call it, then only your function gets execute. Okay, so let us write only one sample function for today, and then we will close our session. Give me 2 minutes. So So this is what your function definition, function calling. You contain parameters. It can also contain return statement. Okay, with the return, without return, all those things I will show. Return expression you can write here. Okay, so this is optional. This is optional. Okay, return expression, this is optional. Please write down this line. Without that also we can do it. Let me write down a small simple function and then I will close it. Control N. Okay, shall I close entire? Okay, what I do is Control A, Control C, Control X. I'll put it in the, okay, then let me write a sample function. So def fun is my function name. Without parameters I am writing. Okay, print welcome to functions. Welcome to functions, guys. Okay, now you can straight away call your function. Okay, so Control S, F5. You see welcome to functions displayed, but let me write a print statements. Begin. Okay, now after writing function, let me write end. Okay, now can I call my function 2 times? Yes, you can call. You see begin end displayed by default only for once, but welcome to functions line displayed 2 times because you wanted to display for 2 times. So that's the reason you kept in function and you called your function 2 times to get execute. Sir, continuously only we have to execute. Can't I execute in some other place? Yes, you can execute in some other place also in your code. Okay, after writing end statement, again I wanted to execute my function. Yes, you can do that. So likewise you can call your function 100 times, it will get executed. Am I right or wrong? You must have clicked plus button in your remote 100 times, more than that, that many times it worked. Can you able to relate and understand what I'm speaking? So that's how it is. So basically functional coding we use a lot on embedded, the functional coding is also called as embedded coding. So we use most of the times functional projects in hardware level implementation. Okay, so that's what the introduction to function, and we will continue our discussion in next session. So function with return, without return, if it is without return, how do you call? With return, how do you call? Can you return more than one return value? Okay, if you want to return 100 values, how? If you wanted to write some fixed number of parameters, right? So I don't know how many number of parameters to define. While defining dynamically, how can I choose? Okay, so there are multiple concepts are there, and functions are uh, different when compared to your C language functions. Okay, so because your functions are objects, if functions are objects in Python, there are new behavior features will be there for function. We can assign function to a variable, we can define a function inside another function, we can pass function as a parameter to another function, we can return a function as return to another function. So there are multiple concepts are there in functions, right? So we will be seeing them in the further sessions. Okay,